I've been looking for a holster for my M&P Shield. Make sure it's clear. It is clear. Safety check, of course. The YouTube safety check, you gotta do that. I have personal friends who have actually use the aliengear holsters quite a bit, and they've had them for years and love them. So I figured I couldn't go wrong. So I decided to pick up a couple and get their 2-pack. You can pick 2 holsters for the price of, well, they just give you a discount. So I picked up an inside the waistband and outside the waistband holster for this M&P Shield. This is the outside the waistband holster here. Okay, so this is the latest generation. I forget the exact name. It's not the cloak tuck, but it's their kind of hybrid outside the waistband holster. All right, they give you a parts kit, and this is the inside the waistband. There's the inside the waistband holster here. There's the clip, plastic clips. I opted for the plastic clips here. Okay, so let's do the inside the waistband first. Okay, this is kind of a synthetic material. So their big thing right now is you can buy the leather one. I opted for the Gen 3, I think, Cloak Tuck 3, I think what they call it. And it has this sort of rubberized material on the outside, and then a neoprene, kind of like it's basically a neoprene, like a wetsuit material on the inside. A nice little, a decent click in, and it's not too bad. But here's the thing, and this is why I can't, at least in this current configuration, I can't get on board with this particular holster yet. I'll mess around with it a little bit more, but I don't know if I can keep it. I don't think I'm going to end up using it. And they do give you a 30-day sort of test drive on all their holsters, which is great, and their return policy and their warranty and everything is really awesome. They're a good company, good North Idaho company. This one, there's some inherent design issues that it's not really the holster's fault, and I'll explain why. You can see how big this is compared to this, basically a pocket gun, right? The Shield is not a very big gun. I mean, I don't have super big hands, and this is not a very big pistol. But this holster is huge. I mean, it's made for, you could put a full-size service pistol in this thing, and that's how they make their money, right? So they have a platform, which is a great idea, platform with mounting points that are all the same. Okay, so you can adjust the cant and the angle and everything, the tension here. But this platform basically accommodates small pistols like this all the way up to large full-size service pistols, 1911, even a Glock, kind of in between Glock 19 and that kind of stuff. So everything you see here is kind of standardized, right, for this platform. So much so that if you want to, you can actually send in, if you decide to get a different gun and you don't want to carry this, at any time you can send this thing back, and for free they'll give you a new cover for this thing that fits your new pistol. It's a pretty cool deal. So it sounds very appealing, and I think it's a really cool service. Made in the U.S., made right there in Idaho. So cool company. I can't fault them for that, and I think that this is a great concept. Okay, this is a great idea from a concept standpoint. Me personally, and I'll kind of demonstrate that. For me, I don't have a big giant frame. My hips aren't big, and so what happens is, and you can see this right here. See this here? You can see that metal plate, how it's keeping it rigid, which in theory is a great idea as well. And if you have the right body type, this is going to work great, because what happens, this angle won't be as steep. For me, it's like this, and I get all this gap right here and right here, and it surely doesn't deform, and it still draws really good. So again, I think this isn't really the fault of the holster, it's just the nature of this design. And if you can deal with it, or you can run this thing kind of more on the 5 o'clock position rather than right on the 3 o'clock back here, near your butt, it's probably going to alleviate some of that. And I think they mentioned that in some of their literature and online videos, that it just might not be comfortable for some people right here on the side, in the 3 o'clock position. So that's just something to be aware of. It's not working for me personally. I don't, like I said, again, I'm going to reiterate on this particular configuration. I don't think it's the fault of the holster. Okay. I think it's just how it is. And that's why they give you the 30-day to see if it fits you, I've tried, I don't know if you can see it, but I've tried moving these clips up and down and kind of moving them around and seeing, can I sink it in a little lower and bring it out and tilt it a little bit. I really tried to mess with it to see if I get it comfortable. I just, this material is super comfortable for me, but I just can't get this thing to position right. And I feel like it just adds so much bulk, so much unnecessary bulk for this small of gun. If I were to have a Glock 19 or my full-size M&P or whatever, I think it would be, an acceptable trade-off, because you already have a big pistol that's going in there, and you're expecting it to be bulky, and I think it would just fill this area in and take up all this real estate here. So I don't think that would be, I think that would be a better application for this particular holster, because it's a pretty solid platform. It's big. I've been carrying this thing with just a cheap, Black Hawk. I mean, this thing's pretty bad. It doesn't have any retention. I mean, it retains, but it's real plasticky and kind of goofy, a $10 or whatever this thing is. So I've been using that, and it works okay. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth. I want to like it so bad, but it just doesn't fit. This one right here, this is the outside the waistband holster. This little animal right here has some legitimate issues, in my opinion, and I will demonstrate that. First off, when I bought this, the image, and even a couple weeks after I bought it, the image online was not this cover. Okay, it was their Kydex, and I really think, and this is where my expertise as an industrial designer comes into play, and this is where I will get sort of critical on this kind of stuff, because the Kydex would alleviate the biggest problem that I have with this holster. I won't use this one, period. I just won't do it. This definitely, I may send them both back, but this one I definitely can't use. The size, it is big. It's again their standardized platform. That doesn't bother me. That comes with the territory, so I expect that. Okay. It's just kind of a, and I kind of got this as, almost on a whim, saying, maybe I could, get something I could carry in the woods. Just, I'm probably not going to carry this pistol like this for the most part. It's putting pressure in a certain spot that's not, it might be right there. See how that just locks, it like locks in too tight. And I've loosened these up. I think I left them almost all the way out. And I could probably go to a wider standoff, but I just don't, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I don't think you should have to. There's already so much space back here, but I'm going to put this on and kind of demonstrate that as well. But the draw on this was terrible. It was pulling, my whole belt up, and I couldn't get it to draw. And then if I pushed like right here really lightly, it just fall out. It just come out like super easy. And so I just couldn't get this thing dialed in. And that's a big deal for me. The other problem that I have with it, on this one in particular, not the inside the waistband, but this shell that they gave, this PIM shell. Okay, full disclosure, I am an industrial designer. I design the A side of products. I showed you some of my stuff about a year ago of me drawing a car or whatever. I've spent 11 years in the industrial design field. So when I see industrial design, I'm very critical of that. I can analyze the philosophy and the branding and the characteristics of a physical product from a visual standpoint. Okay, and this is where it's really important on this one. And I think that this one completely misses the mark on this. Okay, and I don't want to be this critical, but the philosophy behind concealed carry. Let's let this represent your shirt or jacket, vest, whatever. What happens when you reach up? Sometimes your shirt rides up. Okay, and as you reach up, it might ride up a little bit more. You may not notice it. It's good to kind of do a sweep and kind of pull it back down if you can, but you don't want to be obvious. You certainly don't want to be doing it all the time. So as this rides up, you have one more layer of protection. That is kind of the look of your sheath and the look of your holster. And when you have something like this, it can be easily mistaken for a cell phone case, or even a knife sheath, or a multi-tool. Like a multi-tool case. There's a Leatherman, whatever. People don't really pay attention to that for the most part. The problem with this one is it's an exact replica of this pistol. Okay, So from a concealability standpoint, this completely misses the mark. I'm actually really disappointed in this design. I didn't think it would affect me the way it does, but I don't like it. It's very concerning, because right now, technically, you're still carrying concealed, believe it or not. I don't know if it's the same way in your jurisdiction, if the sheath is showing or the holster is showing if you're not. Here, theoretically, unless that gun is showing, that's concealed. But the problem is it looks just like a gun. I mean, it looks exactly, it's an exact replica down to the detail of, the slide area and the trigger being, it's like a relief of the trigger with texture to make it pop, I mean, and I know somebody was like, we got to fill this real estate up with something because we're paying a lot of money for this injection molded part. So we have to fill this up with detail because, hey, these guys can't do detail when they're just folding the Kydex, but we can certainly put detail in a plastic injection molded part. So the problem with plastics, and this is what I deal with a lot in industrial design, is people, when they see plastic and they know they're going to get a part and they're going to spend that money on a part, they feel like they have to put detail everywhere. They've got to do something with texture and text and breakups and lines. And somebody just said, let's just fill it up with the gun. Let's just make an exact replica of the M&P pistol. And to me, this is just it's just a mistake. It's just not a good idea. If it was me and I had the chance to control this, I would make this look, what I would do, and I'm gonna get into this, and I'm actually gonna do this. This is gonna be a YouTube first, I think. Or maybe not, but it is on the it probably is in the circles that I run in. I don't know. It could be a YouTube first here, where I'm going to be critical of this design, but I'm going to take a picture of this design, scan it into Photoshop, and I'm going to actually design what I think this thing should be, based on what I know about aliengear and the aliengear brand. And I won't get everything right because I don't know them personally. I don't have any relationship with the company. I paid for this on my own. I've never talked to anybody on it. So it's just going to be my interpretation, and there's a million different directions you could go. But I would not do this, okay? I wouldn't spend the money on a tool and make a replica. It's completely the wrong message for any sort of concealed carry philosophy in general. So I'm going to kind of show you how I would tweak and change this design and make this something that I think I have some ideas that would better represent the aliengear brand and branding and philosophy than just copying and put a replica of. I just don't think that was thought out. So with that said, that's what I think about these two holsters currently in their current form. I was honestly hoping I'd be a little bit more happy about it. But that's the way it is, and I don't think I'm going to wear either of these. I probably end up sending them back in their current form. They're just not, for different reasons, they're not working for me. So knowing aliengear, they'd probably make it right, but I don't know. At this point, I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. I'll see if I can make some adjustments. Maybe I'll fall in love with it. I don't know. So with that said, let's move into the design phase. Cool, huh? All right, now we are making history right now by doing the world's first YouTube review and design change on the fly. So what I have here is I've imported this picture. You saw me sitting there in front of my computer with my digital tablet. I use a Wacom tablet. And I'm already starting to sketch out and rough in the outline of this new redesigned concept that I'm working on. You can see off to the left I have some images to kind of inspire the design a little bit. Aliengear is kind of this idea, it's kind of this concept of a out of this world, alien spaceship, alien skin, sort of never seen before look that they kind of have to their branding. So I stuck with that theme, and I found some kind of cool images of futuristic vehicles and mechanical images, and so I'm using those kind of things as inspiration. You can see here I'm laying in some lines that kind of mimic some of these technical body breaks and lines on here. I usually start out concepts kind of like this, where I rough in the shape, and you know, I kind of view it as I'm building. I kind of look at it as if I'm building a clay model, or modeling something in 3 dimensions. I get the big shapes down first, and then you can see that I'm starting to cut in some detail lines. I'm sticking with this sort of technical, techie spaceship theme with these lines, and you know, this isn't, you know, I'm obviously speeding this up because it takes quite a while to do, and I'm not going to get this perfect. This is one iteration. If I was doing a design, a real design on this, I would probably have 5, 10, 20, 30 sketches for just this one concept. So this is kind of me just on the fly with some inspiration, laying this out. You can see I'm putting in the main shadows right now, kind of shading this in, but still trying to keep a very clean spacecraft look on this holster. And you can see it's taken away the look of the actual pistol, which I had a kind of a complaint with. So I'm kind of remedying that with, you know, some detail here. It shows you can add, with a little creativity, you can add some details in here and still make it look like its own product. This is a sample of their alien skin I took found it on the internet. It's a close-up version of what they call their alien skin. It's on some of their holsters. Thought it might be kind of nice to have some of that poking through the design. We used a lot of this stuff. You know, they call it alien skin. It's kind of a pebble texture. We used to use this kind of stuff in automotive for automotive dashes. There's companies that give you this texture that you can put in plastics. I don't know if it's the same stuff, but it works pretty nice when you find a pattern you like. Working on that detent feature, I had a problem with that in the actual holster, so I would clean that up and make it very controllable there where the trigger is. So I kind of, you know, using some of this, you know, some of those angles. Now I'm going to throw in the logo here. I simplified it. Sometimes they just have the alien head. I couldn't find a good image of that, so I put it in there. And I wasn't. I'm kind of trying to figure out if I should add this texture on here as well. Now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. I'm sort of showing in real time how this goes down. I went back and decided that I want to put this texture kind of on the wings of this design, just to kind of add a little bit of interest to it. It just looked a little plain. You know, so a lot of times I go back and I sit there and look at a drawing and sort of make decisions and come back later and make adjustments. So it's important to keep your files kind of free floating, you know, so you can make these tweaks and changes as you go along. But I'm adding this kind of alien skin texture. Should I put it there? I'm going to put it down below on the wings to kind of make that center section pop a little bit, have a little bit of interest on the sides. You know, if I was doing this again, I might change that pattern altogether and change where it goes. But you can see that this is kind of an iterative process. This is what it looks like in real time. It's quite a bit slower. Just slowed it down, and now you're seeing, you know, kind of how this works. Okay, you can see where I'm kind of cleaning this design up. I've put that texture, that alien skin texture on the wings and in some of the details. Now I've outlined the holster again, and you're really starting to see kind of, you know, what I would envision for this sort of product. And you can see with some simple changes in a few minutes in the computer, I can make some pretty drastic changes to a design and get a pretty desirable outcome. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's going to pretty much wrap up here, and this is kind of where I left off. But if this is interesting to you, let me know in the comments. It's kind of fun for me to pick designs and you know, of products that I like and I'm interested in, and do kind of quick redesigns of them. And you know, obviously I don't want to step on anybody's toes or anything, and you know, this might offend people if they see me doing this, but really I'm doing this because I'm interested in the product. I think that there's a lot of potential with this kind of stuff, and for me it's just kind of fun to kick back and try something new. You know, from here I could take and start this, you know, do a really clean version of this rendering, and then make variants off of it with different textures and patterns. And you can see I'm putting some lines, some little coach lines or detail lines around it, just to give it that kind of finished look and technical look. But you know, this is the possibilities are endless. This is only one drawing, but you can see that it achieved what I was going for, which was to make it not look like a gun, especially down on the lower portion, to give you a little more concealment. Plus you get the branding in there, and it looks high tech now, and it looks custom. It looks like a unique product at this point. So I will talk to you guys later. I'll see you on the next video. Have a good evening. It's been kind of fun for me to do this. Maybe a YouTube first. I'll talk to you guys later.